What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin. Where the war fights start, round one. Well, Jake Paul and Tank Davis kicked off their press conference, and they're going around um, state to state promoting their fight. And I want to know what you think about this fight, and I have a very strong opinion about this fight. Stay with me on this one. You're not going to want to miss this one. So let's break this down. So Javante Tank Davis and Jake Paul has just agreed recently to have what we call an exhibition in boxing. And many fight fans are left with a distaste because Tank Davis is an active 135-pound champion of the world. And Jake Paul seems to be wanting to fight these fighters not because they're boxers, but more like because they have a big name and they sell tickets, or once was a big name, and he's kind of fighting those kind of fights. So that being said, we know who's um, heading this event: MVP, Netflix. So this is a Jake Paul event. So we need to take this with exactly what it is. This is not a boxing match, okay? And it's not a boxing match in the sense of pro boxing, meaning if you were to say that you're having a boxing match just because you're putting on the same equipment doesn't mean you're playing on the same level. Okay, you in order to pull off a professional boxing match, you would have to play by the same rules and guidelines. Meaning, when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor, they wore the same size gloves, they followed the rule structure of boxing, and they had a weight, and they both made weight. Okay, and that's where the rules come in, where you could sanction that as an official boxing match, even if it was your first boxing match, like Francis Ngannou. But in this situation right here, Jake Paul and Tank Davis are not playing by the rules. So by definition, you are not boxing. What we have here is a fight. That's what we have. We have a fight. You need to view it as such. See, when they say that the 40, 50-pound weight disparity is going to be a problem, well, I kind of disagree. Because when I watch Daniel Dubois fight Big Baby, Big Baby came in over 98 pounds over heavier over him. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Edwin, that's a heavyweight matchup, and heavyweights don't cut weight. Well, ain't that what we got here? Tank Davis ain't cutting no weight. If anything, the only person that's going to cut weight here might just be Jake Paul. That's it. So if you're not playing by the same rules as a professional boxing match, then you can't be credited for a professional boxing match. So and then what are we left with? We're left with a fight entertainment. So please, fight fans, do not mistake this for what it is, and do not confuse this just because we have an active champion in the equation. Because the other guy is not technically a professional boxer. So, and the reason why Tank Davis is getting a lot of backlash, in my humble opinion, is because first of all, we never wanted the Lamont Roach fight in the beginning. Tank Davis dragged Lamont Roach into this whole fiasco and then left him high and dry when everybody saw that he had problems with him and the rematch was this close on happening. See, and then a lot of people knew that Tank Davis was going through a lot of stuff in his life. And if I had to ask him a question, I want to know if his heart's still in boxing. I doubt it. It doesn't really look so. It doesn't look like Tank Davis is taking the type of competition or the type of risk for that we can talk about him as one of the four horsemen or one of the greats in boxing right now. Remarkable talent, Tank Davis, and I think he has the skills to pull it off. But he needs to get his life in order so that his boxing can, um, work out. I think he'll be a better version of himself if he had a lot less bullshit to deal with in his life, and he can concentrate on the boxing and at the ending of his career and really, cement himself, because he has time. Tank has time. Tank can still turn this all around. All Tank has to do is say, I want to fight him next. That's it. But as far as this fight right here, That's exactly what we have, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fight. We do not have a sanctioned boxing match. And no matter how they want to play it or dress it up for you, they can say they have 3 referees judging this fight. We're going to have a definitive winner, okay? A definitive winner to what? To an exhibition? It doesn't count, regardless. And if you're going to wear 10-ounce gloves and he's going to wear 12-ounce gloves, you're not playing by the rules. And if there's a 40-pound weight that you're not playing by the rules, then this is not a professional boxing match and it should not be viewed as one. But I know what a fight looks like, an interesting fight. And the question is, can Gervonta Davis evade Jake Paul's power? And can Jake Paul catch up to Gervonta Tank Davis? You know, can Gervonta Davis make Jake Paul get frustrated and walk into a big shot, perhaps hurt him with accumulation of rounds like that, maybe, really, put it on Jake Paul that maybe he can stop him. It's kind of difficult in my head to think about this, because I kind of think that although Jake Paul, if Gervonta Davis would have fought Jake Paul like 4 or 5 fights ago, I think he could have did it. But when I saw Jake Paul, was taking Julio Cesar Chavez's punches and stuff like that, and he's a fairly nice sized guy, and Jake Paul was in trouble in that fight, late in the fight. And Jake Paul showed that, he was tough. He could take those kind of shots and shit for, a few rounds, and he was gassing out. Jake Paul was gassing the fuck out, but still he persevered in the fight and he won it. He did enough in the earlier parts of the fight to secure the fight. So he knew all he had to do is like weather the storm and make it. So Jake Paul is tough. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like Tank said at the press conference. See, these are questions I can't answer because I would have to find that out when they're finally in there and you see it. You see it. Sometimes it's real evident in a boxing match where you see one guy punch the other guy and the other guy punch the other guy and his punches have more effect and he's flying across the ring. Right away you're like, oh shit, and that's when sometimes, but in some fights, in some cases, when the chin checks out and both fighters are exchanging big and catching big shots and neither fighter is like showing, when the chins check out, all that's left is just the skills, So, but in this situation, I don't think Tank Davis can get hit with too many Jake Paul shots. It's just, it's just that at a certain point, your skills are not going to matter. The guy's just going to be too big. He's going to walk through your shots. You could have all the skills in the world. Yeah. I don't ever believe that, shit. I don't think Floyd Mayweather can beat Francis Ngannou. Hell no. That Floyd Mayweather can be the most skilled fighter in the fucking world, bro. Francis Ngannou, bro, you see the size of that man? Man, listen, come on, man. Reality is reality. But let's see what happens in this fight. You know, it's a bit hard to say, my honest opinion, because I want to believe that Tank is going to do something in this fight. I really do. I really want to believe it, right? But I don't think that Jake Paul takes fights he can't win. So, fight fans, let me know in the comments below. How do you view this fight? What do you think about this fight? Hey, it's a fight we're about to have. So, let's get it out the way and let's talk about other boxing matches. Real boxing. That's coming up. A lot of good fights on these cards and stuff. That O'Shaquie Foster and Stephen Kubo Fulton, David the Monster Benavidez, Yard card and shit, and there's a lot of good fights. So, fight fans, let me know, man, what you think about this Tank Davis, Jake Paul shit, man. It's not a boxing match. It's just a fight. All right, fight fans. I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Peace.